Thank you for joining us for another informative, educational, and entertaining edition of Music and Medicine with Dr. Charles Modlin, kidney transplant surgeon, board-certified urologist, public speaker, and well-known community national leader for the elimination of health disparities, dedicated to informing you, the listening audience, about important health topics and health information that you, your family, and your community need to know, while at the same time providing you with quality entertainment, because music and entertainment is medicine. Dr. Modlin's co-hosts are Jerome Brown and registered nurse Jonathan Branch, and the program often includes special content expert guests. So, without further ado, here is the host of the show, Dr. Charles Modlin.
Hey, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in for another very important, very informative rendition of our show entitled Music and Medicine. That's M-U-Z-I-C, Music and Medicine. We have a very informative show this evening, as I mentioned. We're going to talk about a very important subject that's near and dear to my heart because it's actually impacted my family. We're going to talk about Alzheimer's disease. My father, actually, his picture's here. He's always with me. He passed in 2010 from Alzheimer's disease predominantly. And so that's why I thought it was very important to talk about this condition. We're actually going to dedicate a show in 2025, an additional show on this topic of Alzheimer's disease. And we're going to invite in representatives from the Alzheimer's Association. I just actually joined their board here in Cleveland, the Alzheimer's Association board. So I'm proud to serve on that board and help support the work that important board is doing. You may have realized that I'm decked out in purple. It's because I'm an ardent Northwestern University fan. That's my alma mater. I also, and their color is purple, of course. I completed my internship and residency at NYU, purple. But there's another reason why I'm wearing purple this evening, because purple is the official color of the Alzheimer's Association. And I'm going to read you a reason why they selected purple. So purple is the designated color for Alzheimer's awareness because it represents a combination of the calm stability of blue and the passionate energy of red, signifying the strong, unrelenting fight against the disease by the Alzheimer's Association. Essentially, it symbolizes both the need for calm, support, and the determination to find a cure. So purple is the Alzheimer's Association signature color. And wearing purple is a way to show support and raise awareness for Alzheimer's disease. So be aware of that. So we have a very special musical guest this evening, whom I'm going to invite in to join me on the platform, Mr. Jerome Mitchell. He's a jazz guitarist, and he has a band entitled The Waiters of Happiness, and that's spelled with a Y, happiness with a Y. But welcome to the platform, Jerome. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, and thank you very much for the introduction.
Yeah, you're going to have to teach me and show me how to look cool like that with the shades. I never can get that type of look that I'm looking to get.
Oh, you look cool. It's who you are. You look cool.
So I recently went and saw your band. I mean, it really was phenomenal. The sound, the energy levels.
Thank you.
But later on during the show, you're going to perform from us, I understand, and we have some recorded video of you and your band playing as well.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to that. But I wanted to start off by imparting a little bit of awareness upon the listening audience about Alzheimer's disease. But before I forget, since we had our last show, it's been a little bit while, we've had some new developments in the family. My daughter, Hannah, just graduated in June with a degree from Cleveland State University, chemical engineering. So, we're very proud of her, class of 2024. This is just another picture of her graduation. So yeah, that was a lot of work, and being a chemical engineer. I was a chemistry major as an undergraduate, but I couldn't hold a candle to her knowledge base in chemical engineering. So we're really proud of Hannah. We're looking forward to her doing a lot of great work in the future. So let me just again, my father was afflicted with Alzheimer's disease, but this is something that I think everybody needs to become aware of and more aware of. And especially on this platform, Music and Medicine, a lot of times we highlight specific medical conditions that the African-American community should become aware of. We know knowledge and awareness can about certain disease states, whether it's high blood pressure, prostate cancer, kidney disease, heart disease. It can actually inform individuals about the importance of early detection, preventative health screenings, when treatment options are available. So let me read a few statistics about Alzheimer's. So the incidence and prevalence in the United States, as of 2023, approximately 6.7 million Americans aged 65 and above are living with Alzheimer's disease. The number is projected to rise significantly as the population increases, and Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of dementia. So the incidence of Alzheimer's disease in African American populations, African Americans are disproportionately afflicted by Alzheimer's disease, with studies indicating that African Americans are about 2 to 3 times more likely to develop Alzheimer's compared to Caucasian Americans. According to the Alzheimer's Association, approximately 13% of African Americans aged 65 and older, 13%, 65 and older, are living with Alzheimer's disease. That's remarkable. Factors contributing to this disparity may include genetics, socioeconomic status, and access to care. There's a greater percentage of African Americans who are living with the disease, but are not diagnosed until later stages. Some of the risk factors: age. The risk increases significantly after age 65. Family history, genetics play a role. Having a parent or sibling with Alzheimer's increases your risk. There are genetic factors that play a role. ApoE4, that's a protein that is likely increased in individuals developing Alzheimer's. Cardiovascular health, conditions like hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol can increase one's risk for developing Alzheimer's disease. Lifestyle factors, physical inactivity, smoking, poor diet can contribute as well. Lower levels of education are associated with a higher risk. Social isolation, lack of social engagement can increase risk. And there are important reasons as to why individuals should be aware of some of the early signs and why individuals should seek early evaluation. Currently, there is no cure for Alzheimer's disease, but research is always underway, and there's promising research and clinical trials. I was actually a caregiver for my father, and when we're talking about taking care of patients or patients afflicted with Alzheimer's disease, we also have to focus on helping ensure that the caregivers are getting access to treatment, behavioral health, psychological treatment, making sure they're keeping up with their doctor's appointments, because it's quite stressful on the caregivers of patients, individuals afflicted with Alzheimer's. And, like I say, as I know, my father lived with me for a number of years, and it's very stressful in many situations. You love your parents, your family members, you want to take care of them, but it's very stressful for caregivers. So I know the Alzheimer's Association here in Cleveland and elsewhere, they have support services for caregivers as well. But there are some reasons why it's important to seek early detection. So earlier initiation of informed disease management, that's one benefit. So if you suspect an individual may have early symptoms of Alzheimer's, dementia, forgetfulness, behavioral health changes, being agitated, it's important to try to get early diagnosis, because the earlier one can be diagnosed with this condition, then it will give the family members a lead time to develop long-term treatment plans, management plans for their loved ones. Physicians can provide an explanation for the underlying causes, signs, and symptoms. But again, it's important. Not all memory deficits are related to Alzheimer's, and the physicians will do a complete medical evaluation to exclude other possible causes for the dementia or forgetfulness. So early consideration of therapeutic options, earlier opportunities to support cognitive well-being, such as developing lifestyle changes, psychological treatment, cognitive training. And then, there can be early evaluation as to whether or not a certain given individual may respond to certain pharmacological therapies to manage some of their other comorbid medical conditions. So, but that's just, I know that's a lot. It's a lot to digest, but those are a few facts that I think the community needs to understand, especially the Black community. 2 to 3 times greater incidence of Alzheimer's than their Caucasian American counterparts. So, with that being said, I think Jerome, can we hear a little bit about your musical career, and then we'll listen to some of your music. So
Sure.
tell us about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised here in Cleveland, Ohio, and God gave me a gift to be a musician. So in my journey of being a musician here in Cleveland, Ohio, is kind of listening to you in the setting. My room is actually purple.
Okay. Thank you.
I have an earring in my ear when I turned 16 years old because I wanted to dedicate my life to music. And in the time that I got this earring, it was forbidden for men to have earrings back in the 70s. So I got this earring to symbolize the fact that I want to be a musician, and I named it Muzic.
Okay.
I see that with your thing, with your logo.
Yes.
Growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, I grew up in a musical background with Eddie Backus Sr. and his kids here in Cleveland, Ohio. Eddie Backus was a blind jazz organist, and his friends was like Rahsaan Roland Kirk, and all the jazz cats would come in to Cleveland to hang out with Eddie Backus. So I grew up around a well-rounded crew of musicians. By the time I got out of high school, I graduated and I ended up in a group that was signed to Atlantic Records called the Moving Violations right out of Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
There was a senior group called the Elements. So I was on my journey to be a professional musician from there. Then in 1980, I actually played with Hank Ballard and the Midnighters. Hank Ballard was a rock and roll star back in the 50s. So my group Nucleus auditioned for him, bringing him out of retirement to play this big concert back in 1980. So Hank Ballard had the youngest rock and roll group in the 80s that was rocking the stage in that time. Then I moved to New Jersey on the courtesy of a singing group called Cameo.
Okay. Yes, I know. Yeah, I know about them. Yeah.
So Cameo introduced me to my group to New Jersey. We went to New Jersey, and that's when my musical journey started. I ended up with Bernie Worrell. I did recordings on Warner Brothers, Atlantic Records. I was on projects with celebrities and stars. Where through all my traveling through Japan, I've been to Japan, I've been to Milan, Italy, I've been to Alaska, I traveled all over the United States. I've been on all kind of programs like the NAACP International and National Convention, the Urban League, Panasonic, even did Jerry Lewis Telethon.
Oh wow, okay. Used to love to watch that all the time, yeah.
So my music career expanded. I was to make the money.
Okay.
I wanted to make the money, but being a black entertainer with no knowledge of the music business. So I was learning the music business as I was going along the way. Now I'm 67 years old. I had a great time in music. I moved back to Cleveland to continue my journey into music, not just for me, but for my fellow neighbors here, my family here that didn't get the opportunities that I did. So I introduced in the Waves of Happiness. We bring joy and happiness to our audience. And in life, that's how I try to carry myself. That we live in a world where it can't be stress free. You're gonna have some haters, but the Waves of Happiness, we go through all of that. We go through the haters. Our music heals. Music heals the body and the soul, and I do understand that. So I dedicated my whole life to music. I do have a song.
Music is therapy. Music is therapy. There's no question about it. I love music.
I'm glad you do, because I wouldn't be on this platform. I do have a song that I can play right now.
Yeah, please. Yes.
It's called "Kiss of Life" by Sade, and there's no backing track. I just got a guitar playing the chords, and it's just gonna be me. Uh,
That's amazing. Hey. So tell me, even when you're not performing in front of an audience, I know you practice and stuff, but do you just, like, if you're by yourself, do you just sit and pick guitar up and just for pleasure, just to play?
Yes. all the time. I'm trying to, this instrument is a very difficult instrument. And growing up, I actually didn't go to school for guitar, but I did get a scholarship in the second grade in Cleveland, and it took me to the eighth grade, so I got to study. It was a center called a supplementary center here. So I went there every Saturday, so I got the chance to study all the instruments in the orchestra. I got a chance to study all the different styles of music from different cultures. So that was a blessing for me that happened for me in Cleveland. And in my journey, I got a chance to play with Israeli people, African people. Right now, I'm playing with African people. I done play with different types of nationalities on records and on stage. I played with an artist that was from Madagascar. And I thought Madagascar was a movie because I didn't know that it was actually a real island.
Okay.
So when I was talking to her, she was telling me she was from Madagascar. I started laughing. I'm like, wait a minute, that's a movie.
Yeah.
She's crazy, man. It's an island. It's an island. So Jerome, what I'm gonna do for you, I'm gonna introduce you to the rainforest musicians. And she introduced me to some rainforest musicians that taught me, and I had to learn how to play that culture. It's very difficult. And I got to play the PBS building in Boston.
Oh, wow.
I did a world music for in Canada, in Montreal. So I got to travel Paris with her, and Milan, Italy, Madagascar music. Right now, the Waiters of Happiness is involved with Harlem Meets Africa in Harlem. And my friend is from Ghana. Her name is Natu. So and this is true. I pick my instrument up every day that I can. Doctor.
So I'm gonna accompany you. I think you told me on some of these trips.
Oh yeah, man, for sure. And I keep my back around me. See?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So some of when I was living in New York City, I used to go see Miles Davis a lot. The jazz trumpet player and his guitarist Foley. He was a real, outstanding guitar player. I go back and watch a lot of those old videos. Norman Brown, Lee Ritenour, yes,
yes, them. See, them guys.
Yeah, George Benson. But you're one of those guys now, also, right? You're one of those guys.
Well, I'll say this. Jazz for me, being a jazz. When you introduce me as a jazz musician, that's really that's a compliment for me because growing up with Eddie Backus Sr., they did bebop jazz. I did not want to be a jazz musician because what they were playing was all over the place. And they knew music to the point where I didn't get the opportunity to get those studies on my instrument. So I actually was hands-on learning. So I wanted to be a funk musician. Because in my era, funk was the thing in my era. So if I wanted to be a funk musician, that's how I ran into Cameo. I ended up moving to Plainfield, New Jersey, the funk capital of the world with George Clinton. So I ended up living in Plainfield, New Jersey for 40 years. I was playing with Bernie Worrell, the keyboard players for Funkadelics. I actually played with George Clinton when he got the key to the city of Plainfield, New Jersey. He wanted me to play. He wanted me to play the guitar, and it was Dr. Carnell West and George Clinton getting the key to the city. I got a chance to play with Boosie. I got a chance to play with all the Funkadelics. I'm just sitting down sitting down in the room playing or in the recording studio. As far as going on tours, I stayed away from the tours because I felt that the tours I was by myself when I moved to New Jersey. I didn't have no family. The only person I had really was God.
Okay.
So going on a tour would be kind of bad for me because who's going to look after my home? And then when the tour is over, there's no more money. Can I get on another tour after that? So and then sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
So it can be quite a tough lifestyle. I considered going into music. When I was in high school, I used to be a good trumpet player. I still try to play a little bit here and there.
Maybe we get together and probably do something.
Yeah, I'll have to practice up a little bit. My son plays trumpet also. So, but So let me just tell the audience, we're talking about Alzheimer's disease. I never mentioned really the survival statistics. The average life expectancy after a diagnosis of Alzheimer's is approximately 4 to 8 years, but some individuals may live for 20 years or more. And again, that just underscores the importance of early diagnosis whenever possible, and planning out in advance the treatment plan and options for your loved ones. Factors influencing survival include age of diagnosis, overall health, the presence of other medical conditions, and some contributing causes of Alzheimer's include the amyloid plaque buildup. So amyloid is a particular protein that can build up in the brain and cause inflammation in the brain, and that's the amyloid deposition protein is believed to contribute to the onset or the pathogenesis of Alzheimer's disease. Vascular problems, poor blood flow to the brain may play a role. Some early signs: memory loss, especially forgetting recently learned information. And that doesn't mean, if you're out there in the listening audience and you've been a little forgetful, that doesn't mean you have Alzheimer's disease, but that could be one of the early signs. Difficulty with planning or problem solving. I remember one of the earliest signs my father had is he was a national senior games athlete in track and field, and he used to travel around to different cities across the nation for competitions. And he was telling me, and I saw this firsthand because I would join him on these trips as much as I could. He would sit down in the restaurant to order, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and he couldn't figure out how to order off the menu. And I was thinking to myself, the menu's right there, you can just read off it, but it was very confusing for him. That was one of the earliest signs. He lived down in Indiana, near Indianapolis, and he would drive up to Cleveland to visit sometimes. And then there was an occurrence where he wound up way further north over in Euclid, and he had to go to somebody and then have them call me and go pick him up. So confusion is one of the earliest signs. Difficulty with planning, problem solving, confusion with time or place, trouble understanding visual images or spatial relationships, changes in mood and personality. There are 6 stages of Alzheimer's disease. The higher the stage, the more severe the disease can be. The first 2 stages are really preclinical, and there are no real symptoms. Then as you progress, the magnitude of the forgetfulness and some of the mental status and behavioral changes can be exacerbated and accelerated. But again, as I said, there's help out there. There's hope out there. The Alzheimer's Association can provide services not only for patients, but also for individuals taking care of their loved ones. So again, we're going to dedicate a whole show on this with experts from the Alzheimer's Association and some neurologists who know much more about this disease condition than I do. They're going to come onto the platform and inform the audience about more details in terms of research and treatment options. So yes, look forward to that. Jerome, I understand you actually have a recording that you wanted to show us as well of yourself with your band. And by the way, you told me to come and watch you play guitar. You didn't tell me that you're an excellent singer also.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, in this business, I didn't start out being a singer.
Okay.
So the band, the musicians, most of them don't sing or they're scared to sing. Oh. They probably could sing. So when you get a group of guys that could come together, there's no singer. So usually you hire a singer. But with the Wages of Happiness, what I want to do with the Wages of Happiness is I can sing a little bit, keep the band a band, and we'll back up a singer, a male singer or a female singer. We'll actually bring them into the group. My whole thing, I want to make recordings like original material so we can back up a female singer or record, or a male singer or a singer group. The Waves of Happiness that also played behind a group called Bloodstone, their lead singer. And we got one show coming up with him again. And we also backed up this one singer named Nene Love out of Columbus, Ohio. So
Who was the young lady? Who was the young lady that joined you at the concert? She was sitting out in the audience, and you pulled her up. You dragged her up.
That was my cousin.
Oh, that was your cousin. Okay.
Yeah, my cousin. She's a singer. She's been singing throughout Cleveland all her life, and she also played drums.
And it was surprising. She was up there singing, then she went and pushed the drummer out of his seat, and then she started playing the drums. I thought that was remarkable.
Yeah, she's a great entertainer. I love my cousin. Hopefully that we can get some original material out here and represent Cleveland, Ohio. That's my goal.
So we're going to show a video here real quick, and then where are you playing? Where's your next concert?
My next concert is next Friday at the same place, Flavor.
Okay.
And we're growing, Doctor. Like I said, my group has only been together for a year. God bless me with these guys. They dedicated at the rehearsals, and we try to put on one of the best shows that we can as a group of guys with happiness.
So tell the audience, where is Flavor? What city is that in?
Flavor is in Garfield, Ohio, in Rockside Plaza.
Okay. Remarkable show. And you're there. How often are you there?
We're there every second Friday of the month.
Starting, I think, what you said, it's 7 o'clock, I think?
7 to 9.
7 to 9,
and
okay.
They have live entertainment every Friday there. So it's different groups that feature some of Cleveland's finest musicians here.
Okay. So I was searching the internet, and I was, trying to pull up a little bit of information about my father. I said he was a national senior Olympian, and I wanted to, remarkable. A lot of times, people can't believe what he accomplished. He set 4 national senior games records for men over the age of 80. And during, in his later years, again, he passed in 2010, but his last national competition was in 2009. But he actually set 4 track and field records for men over the age of 80.
How old was he when he passed away?
He was 85, almost 86. But he was doing a lot of these athletic, he was competing in these athletic competitions while he had, when he had Alzheimer's. What we're going to do, we're going to, there's a recording that I found, it's called, of a radio show that my father was a guest on. It's called Growing Bolder. It's a short audio clip where we're going to be able to actually hear my father talking. And also we're going to show a clip, little video clip that was recorded by Humana back in California, either 2008, 2009, I forget the exact year. But it's a video highlighting my father, his journey, and my journey as a caregiver. The interesting story about that video. So I was out there, we were on the campus of Stanford University out in Palo Alto at the National Senior Games Association. And I was approached because, a lot of individuals could tell my father, was suffering a little bit from a memory impairment. And so they came up and asked me to, they wanted to interview me about, my father, his condition and how I was, contributing to helping take care of him. And I say all that to point out, I never saw that video afterwards. I never saw that interview that I conducted with Humana. I totally forgot about it. And then about 10 years later, I was randomly doing a internet search. I typed in my name, Charles Modlin, and this video out of nowhere popped up. It's a very tear-jerking, from my perspective, video. But again, that was my father speaking to me, from above, from heaven, reminding me that as a physician, I needed to continue the work that I'm doing to, help promote health equity, addressing health disparities, particularly in the Black community. That was his admonition for me, that I use my education that I was fortunate enough to receive to give back to the community. And so that's why I'm so passionate about, getting the word out and helping educate, especially the Black community, about the early prevention of disease and things that they need to know about. But he was also sending me a message by showing me that video that I needed to promote the National Senior Games Association, help provide resources for that organization, but also raise awareness about Alzheimer's disease. And that's why I was so passionate about joining the Alzheimer's board. But I wanted to read real quickly some of his statistics. Like I said, in 2005, in Pittsburgh, he won gold medals in 4 track and field events, each representing the National Senior Games Association records for his division of males over the age of 80. In the 100-meter run, he set a record of 15.65 seconds, a record of 32.97 seconds for the 200-meter run, a record of 1 minute, 17 seconds, 0.59 for the 400-meter, and he set a record long jump for 12.75 feet in the long jump. He was an inspiration to everyone he encountered. Just remarkable, individual. Both my parents, my mother was the first Black school teacher in the history of Henry County, Indiana. They were both born in 1924. They always stressed the importance of education, strong work ethic in me and my siblings. But I just wanted to highlight my father because, again, he suffered from the condition. And so we're going to hear that short video interview of him, and also we're going to play that the video that was recorded by Humana. But before we do that, let's hear your performance. So Russell's going to edit this out here. So yeah. So yeah, that was remarkable seeing your band perform. I'm going to actually have to come out and see you in person again. Do you have any national trips or international trips coming up in the near future?
Next year. Looks like I'll be back at the Harlem Meets Africa Festival, and as we're working towards, better for us, I leave it to God, because that's all I had in this journey, and He actually placed me in places that's unbelievable. In this music, it's unbelievable. So my stories should come with Grammys, but they come with me. It's my journey. So I was blessed to meet and greet and be in projects with the people that we actually salute in music today. So
like I said, music, scientifically, music is therapy, music is medicine. And I can't tell you how much pleasure I got just seeing you perform. You were very energetic on stage, as you can see in the video. But no, I wanted to thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you.
I want to thank the listening audience for tuning in. Oh, before I go, this is the Christmas season. And whether it's the Christmas season or any other time of year, one thing I try to do is to promote success in the younger generation. I don't know if I ever told you about my book that I have. Yes, You Can Succeed. It isn't difficult to do it if you know how to do it. It's the step-by-step definitive how-to roadmap to achieve your success goals. So this is a great gift for anybody who has, or any students, or anybody who has students, young people who aspire to achieve their success goals. This is going to help them navigate their success journey. It's available online, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's available locally here in Cleveland, bookstore in Larchmere, the bookstore Barnes & Noble in Eaton, and other locations. I highly recommend it. I wish I would have known this information. 400, almost 500 pages. Every page is filled with pearls of lived experiences that I want to give back to these young people. I think coaches, parents, teachers, advisors, this book should be in the hands of students all over the country. It's geared towards not just African American students, anybody willing to or wanting to achieve success. It's going to help them on their way. So yes, you can succeed. It isn't difficult to do it if you know how to do it. But with that in mind, we want to thank the listening audience for tuning in, and we're going to see you next time on Music and Medicine.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.